Welcome everybody that's come and taken the time to be with us. Your time is very important. We appreciate you giving it to us. Welcome you all to South Georgia State College. At this time, I'd like to turn this over to Dr. Mark Stewart.
My name is Mark Stewart from Camden County School. Today what I want to talk to you about is my perspective from the K through 12 environment in the States, because we like to do things the old way. And so once we learn how to do it 25 or 30 years ago, we never want to change. So this is a new way of thinking. It's a new technology. So why should you use the floors can be stripped, remove the embedded dirt without removing the floor finish. And stripped is a different word right here, because strip makes you think conventionally of using stripper and then going back and waxing it. But what we're talking about here, when you go over the floor with the product and the buffers, is it's actually stripping or ripping or bringing the dirt, the embedded dirt, out of the finish. The other thing it does is it saves time. I have one custodian. I just asked him, he has an elementary school that's about 85,000 square feet. And I said, well, how long did it used to take you to strip and wax your floors? And he would say about 10 days, during the summer. I said, well, how long does it take you to do this process, the zing process? He said about 3 days. So all of us know, and if you're involved with budget in any way, all of us know that time is money. You may not be spending it on the product and all the stripper and wax, and I'll show you our savings in a few minutes. But every time that in our position in K through 12, our custodians do a lot of other things besides clean. And that's one of the unfortunate characteristics of K through 12 cleaning. They do, they might watch over lunches. They may sell ice cream. They may do bus duty. They do a lot of things that they shouldn't be doing, but at the same time, I had to try to find a way to make them more efficient, and that was what my whole goal was. So it saves time, and time is money, and it also saves on material and cost. So at Camden County, we have almost 1.5 million square feet, 15 buildings, 9,300 students, 67 custodians, and you can see Charles came over and helped us do the hard surfaces, and those are the totals for our school. So, we're kind of in the middle of the pack as far as school size are concerned in the state of Georgia. We are 6A as far as sports and athletics is concerned, and that's just based on the high school. But we're right in the middle of the school system as far as sizes and the number of schools that we have. So what are our challenges? Most school systems have custodians as their employees and are not outsourced. A lot of school systems, that's the number one thing they're going through, is outsourcing custodial services. But our biggest challenge is that principals usually control the custodians. So if they need to go do bus duty, they're doing bus duty. They're not cleaning. Well, we have one school I've complained about for 15 years that has 2 custodians that sell ice cream for 3 hours every day. Well, that's 6 hours a day that we're losing, that they're not cleaning. So we're not very efficient. That's the reason I've even encouraged Charles. Schools can be good clients if they have somebody who supervises and can control the cleaning. And that's where hospitals and universities are much better, because when people are hired to clean, that's what they do. They don't multitask too many times. You may have some supervisors that might multitask, but not near as much as the challenge of a K through 12 environment. Most principals don't have any method of evaluating their cleanliness. We've tried to help them with that the first couple of years. I offered about 5 or 6 years ago to our superintendent, let me have the custodians. But the rule is they have to do what I tell them to do. The principal can't be pulling them and asking them to do all these other duties because I wasn't satisfied with how clean our schools are. We have relatively new schools. We have one school that's 1982, one that's 86, and then up until 2010. So we don't have really old schools. We don't have any 1920s and 30s schools that we've renovated. So we expect the inside to look just as nice as the outside. And most principals have no cleaning experience. I mean, I was a teacher and coached, and then I was a principal in elementary and middle school before I got into the central office, and I didn't know what they were supposed to be doing. I knew what clean was, and they didn't really, my custodians didn't really like that a whole lot because I knew the way my mama raised me, and I knew what clean was, and so I expected the building to be clean. I didn't want my kid to go to a school that was dirty, and nobody wants their children to do that. So you can see what the challenge, the K through 12 challenges are, what some of them. And so that's a real problem for us, and a real challenge for me and Rooster and Charles to try to make sure that the custodians are doing what they're assigned to do. We put a lot of money into buying the proper equipment so that we can make them more efficient. And and still we have challenges because they're not exactly doing what they were hired to do 100% of the time. So why did I choose Zing? Charles will tell you that my secretary does a very good job of protecting me. And it took him about a year and a half or 2 years to get in to see me because, you do get comfortable in the way that you're doing things. And since I didn't have control over the custodians, I did want them to feel somewhat comfortable in the products that they use. But one of the challenges we had is we had, 100 different products. So we did have a custodial supervisor at one time, and I had Mr. Roberts go around to all the schools, and we threw out all the old stuff that we weren't using. We tried to get down to just 4 or 5 different products that we were using throughout the system. So that was a challenge of ours. In Camden County since 2008, we've lost at least 41% of our budget. We've gone from $69 million to $38 million. Now, that's a lot of money. 276 employees we've sent home. And of course, as everybody knows, anybody that manages the budget, the first place they're going to cut is in operations. Because we want teachers there to teach the kids and the support staff. So I had to save money. We reduced the custodial days, 20 days, and that was difficult, but we knew that it could happen because during the summer, a lot of times, we didn't always see them working like they needed to be working. So it wasn't quite as hard to cut them 20 days, but, maintenance every department got cut. Central office took 8 days, principals took 7 days, teachers took 6 days, maintenance got cut 14 days, transportation got cut 14 days, and then everybody in the system took similar cuts. But then I also wanted a process. I was tired of us doing things the old way, going to one school and expecting to see one thing, and I'd have to expect to see something else in a different school. So we wanted to come up with one process, and I wanted our schools to look outstanding, not just okay. And not everybody has the same look, same eye that I do. So this is St. Mary's Elementary. You can see it got an outstanding school design, American School and University magazine. We opened that school in 2010. This is our cafeteria. This is in a historical district, so it may look a little overkill for an elementary, but it's a historical district. It's very important for it to fit into the community. I can tell you that a section over near the far columns, we hired a company to come in and to wax the floors, the terrazzo floors, and get it ready to open schools. And there's a section about a quarter of this, the inside of this larger section, that has 8 coats of wax on it. And it was just a couple of other pictures that we have. This is our art room, which we don't have art anymore. That was one of the positions we had to cut, but we already had the room. Again, no stripping, and this is VCT. You can see, even without the outside lights, you can see the reflection of the lights in the classroom. And then this is St. Mary's Middle School, another outstanding school design, American School and University in 2007. And this is about 161,000 square feet. It's all terrazzo in the classrooms and in the hallways. And so we put a lot of effort into it. Here are the terrazzo floors at the front. And again, the floors haven't been stripped. This is a VCT again, one of our schools that had, Gerald always does a good job on the floors, but again, what he was able to do is cut his time in half, if not cut it by 60%. So that was very important for us. Crooked River Elementary. This is the second oldest school, and this is a terrazzo floor, the old terrazzo. The floor was probably put in about 85, and as you can see, we came in, we're able to use the process without stripping the floors. So we have, we have VCT and we have terrazzo, and so it's very important for us to find a product that works on both of those. These are just some of the cost reductions that we've had in Camden County Schools, and you can see each year, every May I would end up ordering wax and stripper for us to resurface the floors, and you can see each year what my cost is. Now, 2011 is when we had already ordered. Charles came in the summer, and then we started using it. You can see what we did the next year in 2012. So we've been able to actually, to have a significant reduction. And even though my overall budget of about $4 million, that's not a lot of money for colleges and universities that are much larger than I am, have 38 to 40 buildings. You can see how you can multiply those savings and how they would be multiplied in your arena. But that still is very significant for us, because remember, not only did we save the money, but we also saved the time. And so the custodians had time to get to other projects that they might not ordinarily get to. So a lot of the head custodians who are very conscientious, they were wisely used that time to get to other projects. And so why should you use the Zenith floor care system? It reduces labor up to 50% or more for floor care. It reduces material costs, eliminates floor stripping, saves time for your custodial staff, improves building appearance, which makes staff and customers happy. And if you don't think customer satisfaction is a high priority, when you have your parents come in the building, that's customer satisfaction. The first thing they see are the floors, and the last thing they see are the floors. And the doors and the windows. So you want those entrances to look really good. And this is, a non-slip product, reduces accidents. I don't know how the rest of you find the products to work, but there was hardly ever a summer that would go by that we didn't have a couple of workers' comp claims because of stripper. I used to strip floors in college, and even once I started working for the school system, I went in and refinished gym floors. Me and a couple of other coaches, we stripped and waxed floors. Now I can tell you, I was pretty nimble at 22 and 25, but once you grab that machine and turn the power on, it'll jerk you around pretty quick, and you don't have a lot of stability standing on top of that stripper. But I can't tell you a workers' comp claim that we've had in the last couple of years by redoing the floor. But that's one of those costs that we have to avoid. For us, just in Camden County Schools, our workers' comp premiums are almost $500,000 a year. That's just workers' comp insurance premiums. And that doesn't include all the other liability and property insurance that we have to carry. So anything that we can do to reduce those costs helps us keep teachers in the classroom and helps us put more money into the classroom. And that's what our job is. So, again, I'm in Camden County. This is my phone number and my email. If there's anybody that has any kind of questions, I know we have a couple of school systems represented. I'll be glad to talk to you. Rooster will be glad to talk to you. But I appreciate the opportunity to come speak, and I hope I've been of some assistance to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Superintendent for Valdosta State University, and we use floor prep for a lot of stuff. I had a supervisor call me the other day and say, "Well, what we gonna use for carpet spotter? We have a spot keep coming back." So I said, "Well, girl, just pour you some floor prep and a spray bottle. Spray that spot, then sit there for 5 minutes, and then work your machine, and it's gonna come up." So I asked her yesterday, we was at a manager's meeting. I said, "Well, how did the spot come up?" She said, "Oh, it's gone." I said, "Okay then." I mean, it really takes the dirt up out the floor. It takes the dirt from off tables, equipment, everything. We have a seal that y'all will see when they do the film for VSU. we're not supposed to mess with that seal because it's in the president area. And we have never cleaned that seal, but they wanted to clean. So my boss man sent me and one of the foreman tools told us to go clean it. So I was like, well, if it messes up, who gonna take the blame for it? So he said, well, we just gonna have to eat this one. I was like, well, okay then. So me and Willie Earl, we got down there and we was watching to see what's in there by the looking at us, and then we got down there with some flow prep and we start scrubbing it, and it came clean. So I told Willie, I said, we might be got ourselves something here. So I said, well, he said, well, who gonna say that they did? I said, well, we gonna take this one right here. We did. So we got down there and it brightened it up, it cleaned it, and it was so dirty. We didn't know so much dirt was down there. But Zing had helped us come along a lot in a long way. We don't strip floors anymore, we wash the floors. We take that floor prep, add the water, put it down in 5 minutes, run that auto scrub across it. I mean, it is good. We're not falling, just like Mark Stewart said. Workers' comp claim is down because we're not slipping. We don't have the students coming in falling anymore. So it has really been a big help to us. And Charles not paying me to say this. I mean, he's a good person because whenever I got something going on, I tell him, and he was like, well, what you need? And I tell him, well, I got this right here. We have a rubber track on the inside of our PE complex. And we've been trying to find a way to clean it. So he said, well, just use flow prep. We're using that flow prep. Jim got us a big tub, big garbage can. We put wheels on it. We rolling it, taking that flow prep, dumping, putting it on that track, and it's cutting time and everything. And it's getting the dirt up out of that track. It look good. So it does good. I mean, it's bought us. We do a lot of stuff with flow prep, and I'm glad it came on board.
How long does it take you to get our rooms ready and the dorms now?
Oh, and then in the dorms, I'm not the superintendent for the dorms, but the dorm superintendent, they use it for some of their floors, and they cut their time in half for the floors that they have for the VCT tile. So they stripped them, they washed them, they got them where they need to be at. And now, last time, they just went in there, mopped them, and buffed them out and kept going. So it's not long now, cut their time in half. But it's good now.
If you don't believe it, ask for Mona.
Yeah, we use it.
Let's give her a hand. Vanessa, do you have anything you'd like to add to this?
No, she said it all.
She said it all.
She said.
Mr. Jim Muzzy. And Jim is the Assistant Director of Campus Services.
Well, it's nice to see everybody here. And I wanted to say a couple things. First of all, I've had many undeserved blessings in my life, and the first of which, well, the job I have, I'm very thankful for it, but also God gave me one of the best custodial management teams that anybody could ask for, with Ramona Wing and Wesley Holloway and Willie Carter and even Vanessa Johnson. But another blessing I got was Charles came along. We had been using Zing since 2000, and we've been doing very well with it. Well, in talking to Charles, I realized we were only using a part of it. And we had cut back stripping of floors, I mean, probably 75%, until Charles came along. Since then, we don't strip floors anymore because we're using the rest of the program. Started in 2000, and we're using it now in 28 buildings on campus. Now we're up to, it would be a cost avoidance and savings of about 3.8 million. We're up to, I'm sure everybody knows, especially in the colleges, we're all in competition with each other. We want the students. Okay, the way we do that, well, first of all, someone drives past your campus, they see your grounds. Okay, then they come into campus. They go in a building. They look at the door mats, they see the entranceways, they come on in there, the floors hit them, bright, shiny, clean looking floors, and then chances are they go and use the restroom. And everybody's basically the same, Well, they don't want to send their kid to a dump, so we got them, we got them hooked, we got them interested now. We want their students, their son or daughter coming there, and that's how we attract students, and Zing is a big part of that. Because it's all about the money. This whole world is all about the money. That's the truth. One of the other benefits of Zing is we have eliminated stripping. I heard some of the others tell some stories, some horror stories about stripping incidents. Now, I've been in this business for 36 years, and I've stripped floors even back when we used to use the ammoniated stripper. Now, that stuff would give you a good buzz, let me tell you. And we'd have the doors open, fans blowing, and I tell you, I don't care how careful you are, when you're standing on that, it is like ice because that wax is releasing from the floor. And hopefully not everyone has experienced that, but it is rough. I've seen since I've been there, one of our superintendents a few years ago when we were stripping the floor, she fell and hit the back of her head. Really nearly had to go to the hospital. She was in rough shape. She missed some days of work. Okay, it wasn't too long after that, one of our vice presidents came through and we put the wet floor signs out. You better have your wet floor signs out. But she slipped and fell. First my thought was, well, I was looking for a job when I came here. But fortunately, she was okay and she understood, but you don't need things like that. You don't need workers' comp claims, and we have not, since we've been on this, we have not had a workers' comp claim due to slipping. 4 years ago, they handed me the dorms and said, here you go. And that was a separate department before, but we merged. And these dorms were in really bad shape. And the first thing we did, we had to strip all those floors in there, and we came and put down the Zing floor finish, and we've been maintaining them with the Zing floor prep ever since then. But there's no way that we'd be able to turn these dorms over in the amount of time that we have. It would be impossible without using these Zing products. It saves so much time on the floors. We did, Ramona came up with a good term, and got to patent this term. But if you've ever heard when Ramona gets tickled about something, you've never heard anybody laugh like that. It's infectious. But she just started cracking up one day, and I said, what's the matter? And she said, we can't have these employees in here mud mopping anymore. That water coming up off of the floors was so bad, they had to keep changing it, but very quickly it was looking like they were mopping with mud. Because think about it, you as a custodian, everybody, it's easy to get lazy, okay? People do not change their mop water enough. So in effect, you're mud mopping. You're mopping with dirty water, you're putting the dirt back down. Well, floor prep also has an agent in it that helps the dirt clump and sink to the bottom of the bucket. Plus, there's also a new system we're going on now which involves a bucketless mop, which is incredible. Used with the floor prep, that's a winner there. But I'm sure Charles can tell you more about that, but we're switching over to that. We're eliminating the mop buckets and the mops because we're always looking for a better way. You have to. We used to put the floor finish down with regular mops, finish mops, but we're using the flat mops now, which is a tremendous time savings. Okay, some other benefits of floor prep. We've kind of gotten a hobby at VSU. We like to go around and find uses we can find for floor prep. And it is an absolute excellent cleaner. Okay, believe it or not, it's one of the best grout cleaners you're ever going to find. And we do all of our bathrooms with that. You let it sit on there and let it do its job, and then you can come in and scrub it and that dirt comes off of that floor. You just wouldn't believe it. But we also have found a use for CPC. You take a room like this, and some wonderful person comes and drags a cart from that door all the way up to the front, right after you've just done the floor. It's like, you start thinking, why am I even doing this? Why do I even try? Well, you can patch a floor with CPC. It takes a little time, but it's sure a lot less time than having to strip the floor. And we have had to strip a floor because it was scratched down into the tile. There's no coming back from that. But what we found is, and Charles showed us how to do it, and Ramona's gotten real good at it, the rest of the crew's gotten real good at it. You put the CPC on and you just kind of work the machine back and forth and just work your way down, and it will really blend the finish back together so you can repair a lot of scratches. We have in our university center, I don't know why they put VCT tile in there, but it's a nightmare. And we're always having to do that. Okay, Charles mentioned the Dirt Leak program. Okay, you need to think of Zing as it's an entire program. Okay, the Zing chemicals are a tool in that program, a very important part, but it is a program. It's the Dirt Leak program. Like Charles showed all the dirt that came, 67% of your dirt comes in the door. Okay, so it's very important that you have the mats at the door and you turn them 180 degrees. You're stopping the dirt coming in at the door, therefore it's not getting into the rest of your building. It makes perfect sense. Just a couple more things. What's in it for me? Everybody wants to know what's in it for me. That's what it's all about. Okay, well, some things I thought of. There's no slip and fall accidents. There's greatly reduced labor costs. There's more time for the crew to complete other projects since they're not stripping the floors. Stripping floors is a morale buster. Nobody likes to do it. People get hurt, so there's better employee morale. Okay, there's reduced chemical costs because you're not buying as much floor finish or stripper. Probably no stripper and much less floor finish because why you want to take up everything that you already got on the floor when you can clean it. But I want to tell you, this is no BS product. It's real. I'm telling you, it's real. You can ask any of my crew. None of us are paid Zing spokesmen. We do this because I do this because I believe in the product and we love Charles. And we're just, willing to help out, but it is real. Okay, I just want to kind of take you on a video tour of some of our floors, tell you a little bit about it, about us, the State University. Okay, this is West Hall. Okay, if you look off to the right-hand side of the screen, that's where the president's office would be. This is a marble floor, and we pride ourselves, this is our West Hall dome. And I mean, we've had legislative members, other college presidents, anybody and everybody's allowed to come through here, so we want it looking good. And it's very easy to maintain. So it will work on marble. This does have the finish over it. But it gives it a really deep shine. This is the infamous seal that Mona was talking about. Now, I've been at VSU since '98, and I'm now on my 5th president. Now, every one of those presidents, it says, do not touch that seal. So we hadn't touched the seal. Well, a couple of years ago, the new president, Dr. McKinney, said, that seal's looking kind of dingy out there. I'd like to clean that. And so we wanted to give him what he wanted. So I asked Mona. Mona went up. I put my best person on it. Mona went up there, and I said, please try a little tiny space on that. I like working here. And they did, and it just started coming off, and that seal, I mean, it all looked about as dark as the dark parts of it. And it's like, my gosh, that is a brass seal. You can really see it now. Okay, this is we have women's soccer. This is our athletic field house, and football. And those are the floors in there. And that takes a lot of abuse with, all the jocks and everything walking through there all the time. This is our weight room. This is in that same building, and that is a rubber floor. And let me tell you, with all those guys in there sweating and making a mess, that floor takes some abuse. And they keep that floor looking brand new with floor prep. You spray it on there, let it sit for a while, and the dirt just comes right up. Okay, this is our Bailey Science Center. This is the atrium, and we have probably 12,000 students, and about every one of them walks through that building every day. So very high use. Okay, this is an annex that was just built onto that. One of the classrooms in that same building. Okay, this is Nevins Hall, another high-use building. It has a lot of science classes in it, math, computer science, things like. Okay, this is our administrative offices down in the University Center where we have our HR and places like purchasing. This is another part of the University Center consists of 3 parts, and this is the south part, and it's all classrooms and offices down there. That's all VCT. Okay, this is a brick floor. It does have finish over it, but it looks beautiful, and it's easy to maintain. So I put these in here to show you, I mean, you can pretty much use it on any type of floor with the finish on it and without finish on it, and I have some of that too. Okay, this is a kind of like a clay tile in the Fine Arts Center, and that building actually needs a facelift. That's a big draw. They have the theaters in there and everything, and some big wheels come there too. But we're able to keep the floors looking real nice. So it keeps the administration off of us. There's the art gallery. It's right beside that last picture. There's our police station. See all of our interrogation rooms. No, I'm just kidding. Those are this is the internet cafe. This is one time when school was shut down. That's a 24-hour operation in there, so it's hard for them to maintain that floor. So we want something that will last. Tried to show this bathroom. We don't have weekend custodial service because of the budget. You ought to see this bathroom on Monday morning when you go in there. I mean, everybody and his brother uses that bathroom. So it's hard to maintain, but what they do is they go in there and they scrub that floor with floor prep, and it just brings that grout just back to looking new. But the key is you gotta give the chemical time to work. Let it sit, a couple minutes, and it will literally bubble the dirt out of it to where it make it much easier to scrub it. So it's the best grout cleaner I've ever seen. Okay, this is the main entrance to the library. That floor was being maintained with regular chemicals, and it was getting kind of bad. Well, Rona took her crew in there and they scrubbed it all with floor prep. Looked brand new, and that's what they're using it with from now. They're using it in there from now on. Like I said, we're constantly looking for new uses for it. Okay, here's one of the dorms. Kind of a plain looking hallway, but we keep the floors looking shiny. And there's their lobby. This is our plant operations building, and I've seen forklifts and everything going down this hallway. And all the workers are going in and out, with muddy shoes and all, and the floor holds up. Now this is our famous rubber floor track that Mona was talking about. We tried everything on that rubber floor. The dirt was embedded down into the rubber. We couldn't get it out. And we were talking to Charles one day, and he says, why don't you try floor prep on that? So, but just put it on there and let it sit. And we came up with our own system with the trash can. That way we can pour water on it and let it sit for a while, let it do its job. But I said, let it sit for a while and then see what happens. Okay? Well, that was them putting it down before we had the garbage can system. Okay, and then we're using an auto scrubber on it.
Good,
Okay, and then he came along and he did rinse it afterwards. That's how it came out. Okay, this floor has just recently been replaced. This is back the old floor that we had at the PE complex. There's basketball, volleyball, all kinds of concerts and activities going on in there, so that building's constantly in use. Graduations, building needs to be about twice the size that it is. But anyway, that floor was hard to maintain until we started using floor prep on it. Okay, like I said, Charles doesn't just take your money and go away. He's always there whenever you need him with questions. There's an ongoing training program that shows how to use the chemical. He's come and taught us the 1-minute manager. Through him, he helped us develop a new inspection system so that we can measure performance. Okay, there's some of the other managers there and custodians. This is Charles showing how to use the flat mops, the dust mop in the hallway with the dust control. Okay, there's Charles showing Wesley how to apply the floor prep. And the nice thing about it is, once you get your managers to buy into it, then they can start training the employees. Okay, and then the employees will start buying into it because they like to see results. You know, in custodial, you don't get any pats on the back because everything that you do is assumed. Should look that way. That's what we pay you for. Well, they don't say anything to you. So it's instant gratification when you do a floor and it looks nice. Okay, there's, I think Charles had mentioned about the dots in the hallways, and that's something when you really get into it, to cut your chemical costs, you can mark off 1,000 square foot areas in your hallways, and then you'll know when to reapply chemical. Because the key with zinc products, you don't overuse them. They go a long way. And that's what you have to do to be certified. And then you get a certificate of achievement, which, you know, they can hang, you know, in their closet or whatever, but it is something nice, and the person knows that they've completed something and they know they're doing a good job. I just want to tell you, it is the real deal, and my email is jmuzzey, M-U-Z-Z-E-Y, @valdosta.edu, if you want any questions for me. But this is no joke, it's just the real deal. Thank you.
Jack is the environmental director, energy, Cochran County Schools.
In the Cochran County school system, we've been very pleased with floor prep. It's the past 4 or 5 summers, we've stripped hardly anything compared to what we used to. We used to strip every floor every summer and recoat 4 or 5 coats of wax. Now we're scrubbing the floors and putting a couple coats of wax on it, and we're out of there. I went from 40 some odd people 2 summers ago, now I'm down to 20 people, and we're not actually having to work overtime at the end of the summer to try to get through. So it's saving us time, saving us money, and like Mr. Stewart said, we hadn't had a workers' comp claim in 2 years, and it was almost every summer we would have 2 or 3 where somebody would slip and fall and twist a knee, or even, we had one that hit the back of her head, fell right on her head, had to call an ambulance. It was a bad thing, and all that's gone now. So we love floor prep too.
This starts